my name is Stacy Fox, and I'm a graduate student with the University of Oklahoma in the Masters of Library and Information Studies. I'd like to share a little bit of research that I've been working on and am continuing to work on about querying the archives with critical archival studies. To begin with, LGBT plus people have lived throughout history and through Oklahoma history. Because of the shifting political and social environments, LGBT plus people have been marginalized in society. The default for history and archival categorizations is the heterosexual white male, which has created an othering within the LGBT plus history, as well as other marginalized individuals and populations. It also created a partial erasure of history for these marginalized peoples. In my study, I wanted to look at the accessibility and discoverability of LGBT plus history within digitalized Oklahoma newspapers, beginning from 1893 to 2001. I use this date range because this is the date range that is available. This is the full amount that's available within this repository. I use the Gateway of Oklahoma History Portal, which is hosted by the University of North Texas and is used by the Oklahoma Historical Society, which manages a lot of Oklahoma history content. The terms that I chose were terms that were suggested through several resources: impersonating a woman, sodomy, sissy, crimes against nature, female husband, homosexual, hermaphrodite, degenerate acts, transvestite, moral pervert. The results of my initial searching has led to some interesting feedback. 1893 is when I found hermaphrodite mentioned for the first time. There's a particular story about an intersex or non-binary individual. And there was another mention of impersonating a woman found in 1894. And impersonating a woman is found several times throughout several newspaper editions over several years. And it's considered a criminal offense unless it's done in an entertainment venue. And that is very similar to some of our traditional thoughts about drag, as well as old as Shakespeare, with men dressing up as women for entertainment purposes. Sodomy is an interesting term, as it was ambiguous in legal terminology. It included adult same-sex interactions, child molestations, as well as rape, and was considered a crime until 1986. Degenerate acts, transvestite, and moral pervert were terms that were suggested in multiple locations, but I didn't find a lot of information within Oklahoma historical digitalized newspapers. Critical archival studies is a term that I was introduced to by Michelle Caswell's research. And basically it examines the injustices within our archival research and practice and analyzes power dynamics within our systematic and structural biases, and proposes practical change and creates the atmosphere for the critiques. It's a reframing and can be used in conjunction and should be used probably with DOCS and ICID, which are the ICID is the international standard. They're all helping to create a more inclusive archive. One set of research that I thought was interesting was Hints and Quigley, and they have revamped their institution's policies recently. And their takeaways were that you need lots of transparency in order to create more honest archival practices, but also public trust. Some of those included more documentation within processing, appraisal, and within access and use restrictions. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.